Aloha! You are listening to Inside the Desert Oasis Room, episode number 120. This episode is sponsored by Tandawai Rum, the world's largest rum producer and winner of over 170 international medals in the past 4 decades. Check out their webpage at tandawaiusa.com or follow them on Facebook or Instagram at tandawaiusa. On this episode, we are joined by the Tiki Boss and the Tiki Addicts. Our friends Ross Aliotti, Randall Wilson, and Sarah May joined us to record this special episode inside the Desert Oasis Room a few weeks ago on Repeal Day. We chat about the history of Prohibition in the United States historically and currently, and the cultures and subcultures it created then and now. We even mix and share the recipes to a couple of tasty Prohibition-era cocktails. As always, I hope you enjoy this episode as much as we did bringing it to you. And if you did, hit that subscribe button. Subscribing makes it easier for you to follow our adventures. Shares on your social media pages are always appreciated. And if you'd like to help support the show, go to desertoasisroom.com to pick up some merch or make a donation. Every purchase or donation, no matter the size, is totally appreciated and helps keep this podcast coming to you every week. Okay, here we go. Repeal Day from inside the Desert Oasis Room.
Inside the Desert Oasis Room.
Just in the nick of time. Just finished making my cocktail.
What'd you make?
Sazerac.
Oh, very nice.
Awesome.
You said Sazerac a second ago, and I was like, okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
So,
sounds
make it
like
happen.
something I can do.
do you want to stay? Do you want to stay on video?
Or no?
No.
Okay, I'll
You're
take
like,
it off
that'd be
video.
annoying.
Okay, so how do I go back
I
to?
just
I'm
wanted
not
to say
camera
hi.
ready, dude.
She does it to
I'm
me
not
all the
camera-
time.
I need to shave. I need to... First of all, I don't have my signature hat on.
Aw, you look fine, Ross. It
So
was
people
good to
can
see
see
you.
my actual...
Whoops, I hung up on him by accident.
Oh,
Sorry, I messed it up.
Hello?
Sorry.
I do have my undertow hat right here, though.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
In case of an emergency.
see, like me. See, she always like, you don't need a hat. I'm like, yeah, I do.
All right,
You
so
always wear a hat, but you have hair. What's your excuse?
Just in case one day I don't have hair. You know?
So people will get used to you? Like,
Yeah. Well, see, I pre-gamed it since I was a kid because my dad doesn't have hair.
the pregame.
So now I'm just the guy with the hat. I'm not the bald guy with the hat.
Right? No, I started shaving my
That's
head before I
funny.
needed to for that very same reason. I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that's just hanging on, like,
Just-
Yeah.
everybody's talking behind my back, like, dude,
Like,
like, you got 3
what's his
hairs, like,
name?
what are you doing?
To keep it a ponytail.
it's like,
Yeah, I think I told the story on the
Danny DeVito,
podcast where I
is
watched
that
Die Hard and shaved my head because Bruce Willis was the coolest bald guy back then.
God, I hate that guy.
Yeah, we talked about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, we did
All right,
talk about this.
read that recipe off to me.
Hold on a sec. So I do 2 ounces of dry London gin, 3/4 ounce fresh lemon juice, 1 ounce of 1.5 to 1 honey syrup. I mean, yeah, so definitely use an ounce of yours.
Okay, so 2
and then
ounces.
shake it with ice until cold. Strain into a coupe if you have one.
I don't have coupes, but I have mini snifters.
Yep.
Which sounds like that's what will work. So 2 ounces of gin, 3/4 of lemon.
Yep, 1 ounce honey.
Okay, and then 1 ounce of honey.
Yep. And if you have it, you can garnish the lemon twist. Otherwise, no big deal. I normally garnish my Sazerac with a lemon, but I don't have it, so.
I don't either. Well, I threw the I
You
just
threw all the peels away.
I just squeezed this, and then I threw all the shells out. I would have saved them.
Yeah.
They're in a bag. Just go digging.
Oh my gosh.
If you want one for yours, I'll go get it.
Oh, I don't want you to, go out of your
Go
way.
all
you
out of
know?
trouble,
It's
right?
Like, if you're already in there, I'd say pick one up.
That was, like I said, man, I hated, my hatred for gin is partly what got me into rum.
Really?
I was, when I was first old enough to drink in bars, all my friends were getting Long Island iced teas because it had 4 alcohols in it. And we were just like, let's get the most bang for our buck. And
Yeah.
I could always taste the gin. And so I started combing through bar menus to find something that had a lot of booze, but didn't have gin. And that's where I came across what I thought at the time was a Mai Tai, which I now know is not, but just, bar Mai Tais that would usually have Bacardi Light, Bacardi Dark, Myers, and 151. I'm like, shit, that's 4 alcohols. That's how I started drinking. I used to make this drink at home when I was probably, I don't even know if I was 20, 21 years old, and it was basically what I had read on menus in my own head. I call it the cauldron because they served it in this huge coffee cup.
Right.
And it was 2 ounces of white Bacardi, 2 ounces of gold Bacardi, an ounce of Myers, and an ounce of Bacardi 151 with, I think, 2 shots of pineapple juice, 2 shots of orange juice, and some grenadine.
No.
Which
Sounds
sounds horrible. Right? but at the time, man, this was the drink. When we had, when we brought some girls over, they had one of those things. Oh, man. It was, they were like, oh, this is tasty. It's sweet and seems harmless.
That's funny.
You're like, yeah, I mean, mixologist.
The sweet ones are always.
I drank 2 of them and passed out. That's how that story
Oh,
ends.
wow.
All right.
Yeah, it sounds like the crap I used to drink back in the day, too. It's like,
Yeah, I mean,
oh.
I didn't know any better back then. But
Sounds
that actually
terrible.
sent me on that's where I started drinking Mai Tais at Zombies, and bars usually made them the exact same. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I just started going everywhere, trying the Mai Tai, the Zombie, until I got into found Tiki Bars serving real ones. That's kind of how I discovered cocktails, was through my hatred of gin, which has now come full circle. I like gin now. And it started,
That's
so I'm bringing
funny.
this up, the Bee's Knees, that drink that Adrian's drinking, that is the first gin drink that I had that I could deal with. And the honey really, I think, and the lemon just worked well. That I didn't taste a lot of the gin at first, and now that kind of eased me into it. Now I love gin. I drink it straight. I drink it in a number of cocktails. It's one of my favorite spirits, but that one eased me in.
Okay.
Dude, you talk a lot. You should start a podcast.
I'll call it. I gotta think of a name. How about Inside the Desert Oasis Room? Does anyone have that?
It sounds good, man.
Sounds good.
Especially it
Sounds like
has
it's
like a ring to
right?
it. Toe tapping.
How about the Rum Diaries with Tiki Boss?
The Rum Diaries of Tiki Boss. I like to be a guest on a podcast.
That's awesome.
As opposed
Cool.
to
I love that you have these.
Actually, I never liked gin ever, but
Me either.
Adrian just handed us coasters from J. Riley's. It's this distillery we went to in Redlands. And they make this gin fizz that's like...
It's so good.
What was the shake time we had on that thing? 2-minute shake?
Dude.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was hilarious.
It was like the proper I'm doing air quotes. The proper gin fizz to get that perfect frothiness, I guess. It's like a minute or 2 minutes. Something crazy.
Yeah.
So he hands me the shaker and I'm sitting there shaking it, like a jackass, but let me tell you what.
Wasn't that the one where
was
the
so
shaker got
good.
passed around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your guys' hands were freezing.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
but it was good.
It was good.
Yeah, I'm 2 minutes. Your hands, you must
Yeah.
have been wearing gloves.
Well, that's why the bartender just passed
That's
it on
why he
to
handed
them.
it to us.
There you go. All right.
The bartender literally passed it over. Okay.
Yeah.
We have our
Cheers.
drinks.
Yay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And a virtual cheers to
Cheers.
Ross.
Yeah.
Virtual
Cheers,
cheers.
guys.
Cheers, Ross.
Cheers.
Cheers from Phoenix.
Wish I was there with you guys.
I would say we
These
did too,
knees.
but
Hey, this is
yeah,
good.
it is good.
Ooh, that's really good.
Hey, this is good, Ross.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I think I like it a lot. It's like I said, for somebody who doesn't like gin, I think that's a drink you can make them that will ease them in. That's not super
All right.
overpowering, and but you still get a little bit of that gin flavor.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And it's simple. It's 3 ingredients. It's honey. And if you make tiki drinks, you probably have honey syrup on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, Adrian's writing down the recipe right now.
Yeah, I'm writing down the recipe.
Well, this is one of those drinks that Mamie used to always hate mixology bars because when I order a drink and it shows up in this little 2-ounce glass, I'm like, what is this shit?
You feel like you've been ripped off.
Yeah, I'm like, this was $18?
Or when you go to a 5-star restaurant and you spend $80 on a plate and you get this tiny little piece of filet mignon.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, is this supposed to fill me up?
Exactly. But it's deceiving when you don't know any better because when you're young, you're used to getting these big drinks, but they're half punch or cranberry juice or something.
It's all sugar.
Most well drinks in a bar that you pay between $5 and $8 for have an ounce and a quarter of alcohol in it.
Yeah.
Maybe an ounce and a half if you're lucky.
Yeah, okay.
And that drink you're sipping right there has 2 ounces of, if it's London Dry Gin, is usually about 40% alcohol.
Yeah.
It's Tanqueray?
Yeah, I'm using Tanqueray.
Yeah, so Tanqueray I think is about 47%.
Yeah. I'm sure if it's 80
47.3.
47.3.
Yeah, 47.3. So there you go. So if you looked at it, you'd be going, shit, I just got ripped off.
Yeah.
But in actuality, 2 ounces of 47.3% gin over, an ounce and a quarter of Jack Daniels or whatever, some 40% booze.
Right.
That's mostly soda and mix, but it's served in a big cup. Once you've started going to bars and learning about how drinks are made, you start to take this stuff in. But yeah, I agree with you, Randall. I remember just thinking, I totally got ripped off. What is this?
What is this shit?
Seriously.
This is 3 cents.
Adrian's staring at you. He wants you to shut the fuck up.
Adrian is staring at the phone
No, I'm looking at my recorder just to make sure everything's cool. I'm not wearing headphones right now, so I'm not monitoring the audio. So I don't actually know what the audio sounds like, and I just want to make sure that I have all the settings correct before we go too much farther.
Should we do another
hello? I
hello?
with 2 shots, so that's probably why I'm talking a lot.
That's okay. That's good.
Absolutely.
So for our listeners that don't know, we should probably say what we are recording today.
Repeal Day. Woo!
It is Repeal Day.
Repeal Day.
Let's do a cheers
This
again.
is our,
To the 21st Amendment?
Cheers to the 21st Amendment. This is our drinking holiday.
And this is why we're allowed to drink today, right?
This is why we're allowed to drink what we're drinking. So, I wanted to talk about what Repeal Day is. I'm sure everybody that listens to this podcast already knows. But we're going to talk about it anyway. We're going to do a little history lesson here, which is actually rather interesting. Prohibition, which officially ran from 1920 to 1933, for 13 years, the country was dry. Legally speaking.
Legally dry.
Legally dry. So, obviously, there were things that happened behind the scenes that was illegal, for lack of a better term. But prohibition was this thing that was it was considered an experiment, right? They called it what did they call it? The Noble Experiment or something like that.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So I printed something off the internet because I thought it was easier for me to read this on what prohibition was, and so I'm going to go ahead and read that right now for our listeners so that they know the exact definition of what prohibition was. So prohibition was a direct response to the rampant use of alcohol in the United States. In the 1800s, alcohol abuse was at an all-time high, particularly amongst males. Randall.
Yeah.
Some of whom...
Adrian.
Guilty as charged.
Ross.
Oh, Ross.
Ross is sometimes male. All right. Let's see. Particularly amongst males, some of whom were no older than 15 years old. On average, the amount of pure alcohol consumed by the average American on an annual basis was 7 gallons. This created a problem for businesses who were suffering drops in productivity and households who were dependent on husbands to earn money, as large numbers of drunken men failed to work. Abuse of women and children was also increasingly becoming a problem, due to the increasing alcohol problem. Groups such as the Women's Temperance Union and the Anti-Saloon League worked to ban alcohol with varying degrees of success. In fact, by 1916, there were 19 states that had some form of anti-liquor laws in effect. So it was slowly building. Pre-Prohibition. The greatest victory for the dry advocates came in the form of World War I. At the time, a large number of breweries were German-American owned. This was an angle that the Anti-Saloon League used to their best advantage. As a result, the 18th Amendment was passed by Congress in December of 1917. In January 1918, partial prohibition was put into effect by President Woodrow Wilson. And by September, the wartime beer production was banned entirely. It was considered a measure of war. The 18th Amendment was ratified in January 1919 and went into effect in 1920. So from 1920 to 1933, the United States was theoretically dry. So, you know, there's some things that are kind of interesting that came up during Prohibition, right?
I did a little research today. And the 7 gallons equaled out to 88 bottles a year. So that's about 7 bottles of whiskey a month.
That's
that
crazy.
They would drink. Yeah, just per person.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Sounds
Isn't
light.
that insane?
Sounds light,
Yeah.
That's Ross's 1 month.
So I read somewhere, let me see if I have this in my research, but I had read somewhere that, and I don't have it in my research here, my notes, I should say, but alcohol was allowed in beverages only what they considered that was like non-intoxicating amounts, right? So they said half of 1% was allowed. But there was more alcohol like in cough syrup than in any kind of beverage. So like you could serve beer, and people were, for example, brewing alternate forms of beer, but it didn't really have any alcohol in it unless it was bootlegged.
So is a scissor actually a Prohibition era cocktail then? You know?
Yeah, so these drinks that we're having right now, the answer is yes, because these were served in speakeasies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, so, and there's some interesting stuff there too. So like, some of the things that happened, right, during Prohibition, we had these bars that were called speakeasies, right? And the name speakeasy comes from... speak easy. So called the practice of speaking quietly about such a place in public or when inside it so as not to alert the police and neighbors. The word gained wide currency in United States during Prohibition. So that's where that term came from. And I find it interesting that today that is a very popular trend, is the speakeasy.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very popular.
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere in Southern California. I'm sure in Arizona.
What's
right,
funny
Ross?
with the
Yeah, we have a few.
What's funny with the speakeasies, so we met Adrian at the speakeasy in Redlands last week. And
last week I was at the speakeasies in Phoenix, the week before.
Yeah.
So
for Randall's birthday.
I met Adrian at some point.
And then the week
this
before
year.
that, I was at the speakeasies down in Temecula, which is funny, right?
Yeah. So
You're on a speakeasy
And then,
fair.
and then on
So
my
we met-
birthday, we went to the speakeasy at the Blind Rabbit.
I was at the speakeasies before Temecula with the Blind Rabbit because I had done a podcast with them. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So here's the thing about the speakeasy. The speakeasy trend today, that's where all the great cocktails are.
Absolutely.
Right? So they're also doing Prohibition era cocktails because they're recreating that era or that whatever that is, whatever you want to call that, right?
Style.
Yeah, I mean, like, there is not a speakeasy today. This is a bold statement, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm probably 90% correct if I'm wrong. There's not a speakeasy that's open today that serves a bad cocktail. I think all the speakeasies that are out there today,
absolutely.
I think they're all serving good cocktails, right?
Yeah,
I think they're all doing the craft cocktail
Yeah.
thing. Because
'cause
that goes one and the same, right?
So
they
we
go hand
went
in
to the
hand.
Blind Rabbit for my birthday, and I told the bartender, I said, hey, it's my birthday today. You know, she's like, oh my gosh, congratulations. She came back probably 10, 15 minutes later, handed us a little glass with a shot in it. I'm like, ooh, what is this? Like, this is probably going to be good, you know, because shots there aren't just straight up shots, you know, like
Right.
they actually mix in other things. So we tasted it, and Randall's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I'm like, I could tell you right now there's rye whiskey in it and some type of guava. And I think it was rye whiskey, guava, and I think a sprinkle of lime juice. And it was so good. And she had just crafted it in this tiny little shot glass on a stem.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was so cute and like so pretty, like, and presented like just so well, you know?
I've had that shot before. Yeah,
It's
Just
so
like-
good.
It's super good.
Like
yeah.
you wouldn't expect that,
Yeah.
you know?
Well,
And
a
it's
lot of
just
times,
different.
the people that own these speakeasies and the bartenders that they employ are in it beyond just the cocktails. I mean, it's almost like a lifestyle thing. You know, sort of from the,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
way that they dress to the way that they style their hair, and you know, it can look hipsterish, but sometimes, you know, if you start to talk to some of these guys, it's not them trying to be hipsters. If
Yeah.
they've really gone back and studied ingredients, they're tasting things that are coming out again that haven't been out in a long time. All sorts of new ingredients are popping up all over the place because people are trying to recreate these cocktails that many of which have not been served in a long time. And some of the ingredients, when you go back and look at the old bartender's guides, no longer exist. Sometimes they don't know what they taste like. So, you know, people are going back and looking and researching and either finding these ingredients or companies are starting to recreate them so that we can try to get as close as we can to what they were making, you know, back in that prohibition era.
That's awesome.
Right, right.
That's where like all that good cocktails came. I mean, because I mean the liquor then was terrible. It's cut as you know with water just to kind of push out booze.
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is that the high society was drinking in speakeasies, but a lot of other people were drinking bathtub gin and rot gut whiskey and,
Right.
you know, like you said, Randall, fillers, and they were putting a lot of other stuff. People were getting sick. I mean,
Yeah.
it was, you didn't know what you were buying unless you could afford to go into a speakeasy where you would often get, a real cocktail.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure because it was still like the Great Depression, right? So
Sure.
they didn't have money to really spend
Well,
to go into speakeasy.
Was
Well,
it the Great
you know-
Depression because they got rid of alcohol?
Good question. I don't know. That's a research question that I don't have the answer to at the moment. But you know, like to
What's
speak
wrong with you?
to speak more on what Ross is talking about, when you see bars like the Blind Rabbit or the Blind Pig, do you know why they're named that?
No.
Because some of these concoctions, these bathtub gins or these bathtub rums
Yeah.
or whatever they were making, moonshine, it would make you blind.
Yeah.
So the
Wow.
Blind Rabbit, the Blind Pig, the Blind Donkey, like there's a bunch of them, right?
Yeah.
It harkens back to that time.
Yeah.
Again, when you look at like the trends that are happening today, right, with the speakeasy bar, and then when you have like the Blind Rabbit, which is it's named
Yeah.
in such a way, and it's also a speakeasy. What they're doing is they are paying tribute to that era.
I was
right?
curious about the name.
Yeah. So that's what that means.
Okay. That's really cool.
The whole thing about people having to drink this kind of shady stuff, they were drinking them from bootleggers because if they couldn't go to the speakeasies, if they didn't know where the speakeasies were, or they didn't have the money, if it was the Great Depression, they didn't have the money to spend to go into a speakeasy, they were buying this stuff from a bootlegger.
Makes me think of drug dealing.
And it is because
That's exactly. You had
Wow.
no idea what you were getting, and that's where a lot of the cocktails were created to cut that flavor.
Dang.
Because it was so horrible that people couldn't drink it straight,
Yeah.
so they started.
yeah, that's why they
create
started.
a lot of-
Got it.
That's why they
Okay.
started mixing it with fruit juices. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I think the drink that you are drinking right now, the bee's knees, I believe the origin of that started with, being made with that kind of, like a bathtub gin where it was just so bad tasting that
They had to put
that
something
honey and
in
lemon
it.
mix was able to kind of cut through that a
Yeah.
little bit and make the drink palatable. You might get sick.
No, I'm gonna go home blind now.
Yeah.
Blind. And a lot of the top bartenders, from what I've read and understand, left and went to like Havana to work.
Yeah. A lot of them were going overseas too. They were going to Europe, and they were going to Cuba and the Caribbean and places like that where they could work because it wasn't illegal over there.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And again, Americans with the means, with the money, were traveling down there and having a blast during that time.
Yeah. So talking about bootlegging, I wanted to give the definition of bootlegger. It's as simple as it sounds. when people were transporting or concealing liquor, they were concealing them in their high boots. And so that's why they called them bootleggers. They were putting them in their bootlegs.
Ah.
So
that's
that's where that term came
I
from.
did not know that.
That's even where hot rodding and NASCAR came from.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
running.
NASCAR came from bootleggers. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting stuff tied to Repeal Day,
Yeah.
Prohibition, and I want to talk about. Is there any more that we want to talk about this?
Yeah, I want to make an announcement.
Before I transition. All right.
Yeah, because in 9 minutes. So I read a fun fact on the day Prohibition ended.
Yeah, I know.
Many
What
people
time is it?
toasted the
I
passing
know. See, I knew you were going to say that.
of the 21st Amendment at 9 p.m. So the 21st hour of the day.
So 9 minutes. We have 9 minutes.
Yes.
And when 9 minutes
what?
comes around, we're going to ring a bell for that.
What
Yeah.
time zone?
I don't
Look at
know.
that. Because it already
Thanks,
passed.
Ross.
It already passed for us.
For me, I'm coming up on 10 o'clock.
Well, since the West Coast is the best coast, we're going to go with our time zone. Well, I
it
think
was
it's
likely New York, but whatever.
Should I set an alarm?
well. I think
Set an alarm.
What I
Yeah.
think is funny though with
'Cause I don't want to forget.
speakeasies though is we took a friend from England to the speakeasy, and it was a little weird way to get in, as speakeasies are. They're hidden, and he's kind of looking at us like, "What are we doing? Why are we here?" And I didn't even click to me that speakeasies is such an American thing.
It is, yeah.
He had no idea what a speakeasy
Yeah.
was and
So
why
weird.
we were entering through a kitchen.
Right.
Oh,
right.
it was the guy from the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we
he
had
thought
to,
it was so weird.
so we
He was
had to
just like, "What?"
explain to him about Prohibition because it's not taught. And he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is actually pretty cool."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought it was weird. Us being here, it's just ingrained in our culture that I just
Yeah.
assumed everyone knew what a speakeasy was.
Yeah, you're right. It's
Yeah.
easy to assume that.
Oh, you want to hear another crazy thing? So I had our guest speaker this past weekend from our photographer's workshop come down. She had coffee with me after our workshop. And she came to Redlands to see, downtown and get coffee with me. And we walked around and she goes, "It is so cool that people have American flags hanging out front of their house." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, she just said, "Oh, Canadians don't do that. We, don't have flags outside of our house,
Yeah.
She's like, "I think it's so cool. You
The
guys
patriotism,
pride
yeah.
yourself." Yeah. I'm like, "Well, you should start doing that. We pride ourselves because, I'm sure during war times, that was the symbol, America, and just having that pride, and so, putting it up on our porch, she got all excited, "I want to move down here." She's like, "You guys are seriously so cool." It was cute.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, going back to what you had stated, Ross, with bartenders moving outside of the country to continue to work during Prohibition, there's something kind of related to that too, which I find really interesting. And so I'm going to make a transition now to Don the Beachcomber, because today is also the birthday of Don the Beachcomber.
And
Not
today's
Don the
the
Beachcomber
birthday.
himself, the business of Don the Beachcomber. So, Don the Beachcomber opened on December 5th, 1933 at
That's awesome.
1722 North Macadam Place in Hollywood.
Yep.
And he opened on Repeal Day, the day after Prohibition was
We have to
lifted,
cheers to Don then
As,
too.
as
And-
Don's Beachcomber Cafe.
as Don's Beachcomber Cafe.
And it's Walt Disney's birthday today, too.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, so there's a lot of things happening today. So,
Yeah.
having said that, Don the Beachcomber, or Don Beach, or Ernest Beaumont Gann, whatever you want to call him, chose to base his menu on rum cocktails, the spirit of rum. And why? I'm sure you guys know the reason why.
Cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Because it was not affected by Prohibition. Because
I didn't know that.
spirits such as gin and whiskey and other American spirits were expensive to purchase because a lot of them had to retool their factories to start manufacturing these spirits again. Well, rum was largely manufactured in the Caribbean, and so it was unaffected by Prohibition. So it was
Okay.
cheap. They never had to
Wow.
they never had to retool, if you wanted to get American whiskey, it was, just
like laser.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were all starting from scratch again.
So imagine tiki without Prohibition, with rye whiskeys.
Exactly. So now let's go back to this, right? When we were reading some of this earlier, right, there was that keyword saloon, right? So part of Prohibition was when or I should say part of repealing Prohibition was that bars could no longer be called saloons. So now we don't see bars that are like the blah, blah, blah saloon because they couldn't be called saloons anymore. And prior to Prohibition, there was no tropical saloon, right? They were all just American-style saloons, right? Would you picture a saloon turn of the century? And so that is why Don is credited as being the godfather of Tiki and creating the first Polynesian-style bar, right?
That's
So
really cool.
yeah.
The only thing they had before that was like things that you see like the coconut grove where there might have been palm trees and stuff, but they were still, drinking martinis and whiskey drinks. There was nothing like what Don was doing. He created that.
Yep, that whole tropical cocktail menu based all on rum.
Yeah.
Right.
Did
so
he carve a pineapple and serve a cocktail in it?
Well, the Planter's Punch, right? The original structure of today's tiki drink, which is, I'm gonna mess it up. Adrian, you know it, right? One of sour.
They call it the 1 of sour, 2 of sweet, 3 of strong, 4 of weak.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope we got that right, or we're gonna get murdered.
No, that is right. That's right. Yeah. So there's a couple interesting things happening there, and I'm going to say this too. Every Wednesday at 9:00, we do a toast to Ray at the Tiki Tea, and today's Wednesday.
Yep.
We're not only going to celebrate Repeal Day at 9:00, which is what we're supposed to do. We're also going to do a toast to Ray. And Ray was one of the original 4 Filipinos at Don the Beachcomber. So there's a whole full circle thing happening today with this Repeal Day. So this is kind of a special day, right?
I'm really honored to be here.
Right?
Yeah. And I thought we were just going to drink on Wednesday.
Dang.
Right.
And we're even choosing to Walt,
Yeah. So this is a universal day today for a bunch of things, right?
Yeah, this is cool.
Yeah, and so it's kind of a special day today.
You didn't think I was going to stay in my pajamas.
I know. I was waiting for you guys to catch up. I finished this thing a while back.
Well, if we're going to do a toast,
so what should we do?
saving a sip.
What should we do for the toast?
Do you have anything left in here? Like
you know what I want to do? What I think we should do, since it is Repeal Day, what was the booze that everybody was drinking at the time?
Whiskey.
Was it whiskey?
Yeah.
Probably rye whiskey.
Yeah.
I don't have
I
rye
love
whiskey.
rye
I have whiskey and Scotch whiskey and bourbon.
Bourbon.
Maybe we should do a shot of bourbon.
Absolutely.
I'm down.
So we're gonna do that. I'll pour one out for our homie Ross since he's not here. Throw it over my shoulder. Pour one out for the homie.
I'm gonna pull out this nice bottle of Old Forester single barrel.
Ooh, nice.
So I am going to pour
I'm so happy you're joining us again, Ross.
Yeah, I know.
For everyone who doesn't know Ross, his real name is Tiki Boss.
No. My real name don't mess this up. I'm just starting to let everybody know that my name is not Tiki Boss. It's actually Ross. But you can call me Tiki Boss. That's it.
I can't sleep tonight now. You just ruined it. Next thing you're going to tell me that the Easter Bunny isn't real.
He's not?
Oh, what?
Or the
I
Tooth
won't tell you
Fairy.
that.
Who said that?
I wouldn't take that from you, Randall.
Or Santa.
Okay.
Whoa.
I am going to pour Buffalo Trace
Ooh, there we go.
because of the buffalo, and this is Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Awesome.
So we're going to be toasting with this.
Very American.
You know what? That gives me an idea. I have some Buffalo Trace right off the
There you
still. Just the unaged mash, and I haven't opened it.
Oh, really?
What better time to open that? It's 62.5% corn, rye, and malted barley, 125 proof. It's called White Dog. Comes in a little glass, so I'm gonna have to pour myself a little drink of
Can you
this.
take a picture of it?
Now's
so
the time.
Adrian can post it when he does his thing.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of it.
I'm going to get one more photo here. Hang on.
Okay.
Get one more photo of our... All right, so put this here.
It is exactly 9 o'clock.
It's exactly 9. So
Yeah.
let's hand these out. I'm gonna
Okay.
do. Let's do. We're gonna do one bell for Prohibition.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going live then.
All right, you gonna do live?
We're going live.
Yep.
Ready? Check your connection. We're live.
Aloha, folks. We are celebrating Repeal Day tonight on the desert, inside the Desert Oasis room. There's a bunch of stuff happening tonight. So, today, Repeal Day. We're celebrating that we can drink all of this booze that we so much enjoy every week. Today was also the start of Don the Beachcomber in Hollywood back in 1933, December 5th, 1933. Today is a Wednesday. And every Wednesday at 9 o'clock Pacific time, we do a toast to Ray from the Tiki Tea. And Ray Buin happens to be one of the original four Filipinos that Don the Beachcomber there in Hollywood. So all kinds of stuff happening tonight. We're going to do our bell right now. So what should we do first? Should we do the toast to Ray first? Should we do the
Toast to Ray, absolutely.
Toast to Ray. So
wait, are we taking a little sip?
We're going to do a little sip.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do 5 bells. Toast to Ray.
Toast to Ray.
Toast to Ray.
Five bells for
There
Ray.
you go.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers,
Aloha.
Ross.
Cheers. Cheers. Aloha.
And for those that don't know, we have the Tiki Boss himself on the phone.
Whew.
He's right there.
He's right here. He's right here.
Wow.
Say hi.
Hi.
All right. One more
Aloha,
bell
everybody.
for Repeal Day.
Cheers.
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 Cheers. Aloha.
We have to do Walt.
Randall, he already
that it?
cleaned it out.
We
No,
have
we
to
still
do
have to do.
Walt.
So
I still got more. I got
here's
more.
one more thing. Now I'm not like a Disney diehard, so are you sure that it's Walt's birthday
Yes.
today?
Walt's
Okay.
birthday. Actually here,
Here, I'll pour you a little, babe.
Daniel Smith, he's
It
toasting
will
us.
be
He
at
also
midnight.
said it's Walt's birthday.
And it's Walt's birthday today too. So I think we've got a trifecta happening, right? So we're gonna do one more bell for Walt. So
Awesome. That's for you.
I'll drink my Sazerac with that.
oh, you have it.
Oh, I got
you
two.
go.
No,
Yeah.
Going double.
Cheers.
I just realized that I'm just getting drunk at home by
Ooh.
myself right now.
Oh, you wouldn't be the first one, buddy.
Yeah, like you guys are all. I feel like I'm there, but then I realize I'm really not. I'm just there lining up shots.
But hey, Chris, how you doing?
So there you go, folks. We are recording the Repeal Day episode of Inside the Desert Oasis Room. I don't know when this is going to air because I have a bunch of other episodes I have to air first. But we are making sure that we give this holiday, because it is a holiday, the respect it deserves, considering that we are tiki cocktail and craft cocktail fanatics. And I hope you guys are out there doing the same thing, enjoying a drink tonight, because you would not have been able to enjoy that otherwise if it were not for Repeal Day. And why did we do this at 9 o'clock? Why did we do this toast at 9 o'clock? Is because Repeal Day was the 21st
21st hour.
Amendment. It was the 21st Amendment. We are celebrating on the 21st hour
Yep.
today. All right, so
Woo.
cheers, everybody.
Aloha.
Cheers.
Aloha.
Cheers.
Happy
Aloha.
Repeal Day.
And I don't know how to end. There we go. Chris said aloha. Chris Cervantes.
Which Chris? Oh, okay, cool.
Awesome.
All right, Ross.
Save.
How are you
And-
doing?
Doing all right. I just downed a
Are you
shot
drunk
of
yet?
White Dog, Buffalo Trace White Dog Mash #1,
Woo.
which is 125 proof.
Wow. So you
And
kind
then
of had
on the
what we
second-
had almost.
Say
But
it again?
nicer. We have Buffalo Trace too, but
Should
you
we
had
get
the
a photo
higher
of, like-
end.
Should we get a photo of like all the booze that we're drinking tonight?
Yeah.
So, all right, so
Well, we
I
always
feel like we need
forget
to get some
take
money from
photos.
Buffalo Trace.
We'll
is
take
what I
another
feel
one.
like.
I don't know.
okay. Are we up for another cocktail?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Sarah
definitely.
May, get in
Yeah.
here. Where are you going? Right.
Oh, I was gonna go close. Okay.
She was gonna put her arm around
Sorry
me,
to
Randall.
everyone listening. They're probably like, okay, they're getting off subject.
So let's get back on the subject for a minute. One thing that I think of when
We're trying to take photos, Ross. We're
What's that?
trying to take photos.
Pardon me.
No.
I know you have. I know your
It's
Instagram
okay.
game is strong, so I
It's okay.
don't want to interfere with that.
Okay,
No, we
Ross.
always-
Proceed, Ross.
We always forget to take photos, so we just wanted to get one.
What I was about to say is that something that also happened that we haven't talked about is how organized crime just kind of
Yes, yes.
took advantage of the situation
Well, absolutely.
and had a blast during this time in importing and selling, alcohol at extremely high prices, and just it was. And
It made Al
it was
Capone a
extremely
millionaire.
lucrative.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I mean,
You know
this
how
thing
much
that
money that guy
supposed
was?
to be better for our society, just drug crime through our entire country.
Right,
People were
right.
being murdered.
Well, look at Vegas.
it-
Vegas wouldn't be a thing without him, though, so.
Yeah. I guess if you go back to the whole, there's a whole story there too. But I mean, and this is going to come across like I'm a weed guy, which I'm not. And not that I have anything against it. I don't personally smoke pot, but I feel like we haven't learned a whole lot because to this day it's still a struggle to legalize weed. And there's not a lot of good reasons why we wouldn't. And it feels like it's the same kind of thing. There's a lot of petty criminals. There's a lot of wasted time putting people in jail. Okay, I'm going off on a tangent.
Well, no, it's okay. But you know what?
Well,
Let's
absolutely.
let's talk about that real quick. Do you know why weed was criminalized?
Probably for marketing purposes to sell something else. That's what I find usually most of the stuff comes down to. Is
You're
it was
kinda
a
close.
competitor to something else. But
So
no, I don't know.
I can give you the short answer to that. So what happened was William Randolph Hearst and a bunch of his partners were investors in big tobacco, and what they were trying to do was make hemp illegal
Yep.
so that they could monopolize their market. Right? They wouldn't have a competitor, and so they found a way to make weed illegal by getting doctors to basically testify all of the negative things about it. It's not all negative, right?
Yeah.
Just like everything, that there's two sides. There's a positive and a negative, and weed is actually a very helpful drug for a lot of people. It's very medicinal for a lot of people, but they didn't obviously market it that way when they wanted to get it criminalized. They wanted to make it illegal so that they could monopolize tobacco, and so it's been that way ever since.
Well,
right?
you can look at-
up until recently.
Yeah, well, you even look at, what is it, the 30s, Reefer Madness? You got movies like that kind of push that kind of narrative that, it's going to make you go crazy. And
Yeah, it was the 50s. But yeah, that's...
was Reefer Madness in the 50s?
I don't remember when it was.
I think it was jazz. 50s wasn't jazz.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, I mean, that still goes... It's 2018, and
Right.
there are still people that are affected by that. Like I said, I personally don't partake, and it's not...
Yeah.
Just because it's not my thing, but I just don't get why at this point people are doing it the same way that people were drinking during Prohibition. They don't know what they're getting. Like somebody said that earlier. I think it was Sarah said it's like going to a drug dealer. It's like, and finally states are starting to legalize it. But I mean, it's just insane how long this has taken and how long it's going to take before it's finally going to be legal everywhere, so that we can decriminalize it, stop wasting all this time, money, and effort, and start to tax this.
Yeah.
Especially in a state like California, which I'm glad they finally legalized it, because I mean, there's been so many money problems there.
Well, Texas is a big thing. That's the reason.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. That's still a reason why things are illegal. I mean, well, you look at that though, but alcohol's still illegal in a lot of places in the country too. Look at what's the whole story with Jack Daniels where they're made? It's still a dry county, but it's made there.
Dry county.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You cannot drink
Yeah, they say
anything
it on
on
their
premise. Yeah.
Oh, really?
You can't drink in the where's Jack Daniels? What county is that?
Tennessee.
Who wants
Lynchburg.
the
Lynchburg,
remnants
Tennessee.
of this?
Here we go.
I do.
These
Give
knees,
us our
probably mostly melted
I'm not driving.
ice.
I travel a lot for work, so I've experienced quite a few weird
Oh,
liquor laws.
there are some weird ones. I've been to one where they can't sell. I think it was. I want to say it was in Missouri, Kansas City area, I believe, where you can't sell liquor and mixers in the same store. So wherever you buy liquor, you can't buy like soda.
I have a fun fact. So I
Okay.
used to live in Huntsville, Alabama, for a couple years, and on Sundays they would not sell alcohol, or they did not have a lottery system there, so they did not believe in when I went to try to enroll in college in Alabama, they said, oh, we don't do grants or anything like that. So I questioned, they're like, oh, we don't have a lottery system. So you had to go 2 hours outside to Tennessee to either buy lottery tickets or alcohol, because they didn't do that on Sundays. and then they wouldn't sell after, I think it was 8 o'clock.
Well, in Nashville also, you can't buy beer and liquor in the same store.
That's so
because,
weird.
You know, a lot of states are like that. Even in Texas.
Really?
I mean, when I thought of Texas, before I went there for the first time, I think Cowboys, hard drink. I just have these images in my head. I hope I'm not offending anybody from Texas. I'm thinking of Angelica right now. But but when I went to Texas, I was driving around one night, maybe o'clock, and I was trying to get some food, and I was going to get a bottle, and I'm going to all these liquor stores, and they're closed. And then finally, I just give up, and I get some food at like 11 o'clock, and I asked the person, I was like, hey, where can I get a bottle of something? She said, after 9, you can't buy liquor. You can buy beer, but only like in like a...
Yep.
Grocery stores.
Well, that's what happened
all the
in
liquor
Missouri.
stores are going to be closed.
Yeah.
And that area had one of the highest areas or the highest rates of drunk driving in the entire country.
Wow.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
you don't plan that in advance, or you go to a bar.
Yeah.
If you just would like to have a drink at home, you can't. You can't go get a bottle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, those kinds of laws are just. I mean, I'm in Texas, and I'm just like, what? And this was 10 years ago.
Yep.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
changed. Somebody might be yelling it. It's not like that anymore, but.
Well,
That's
we just
the way it
went
was when I was there.
we just went to Missouri last year for Randall's cousin's wedding, and he went to go. I think we said like, let's get a bottle of something and beer, and the guy would only sell him beer because like he was trying to get like say vodka or something for us just to take shots before we went out, and like they said you can only buy beer or vodka, one or the other. We can't sell you both. Yeah. And he was like, okay.
I'm so confused.
And he said he had to hurry up because I think it was at 9 or 10 o'clock they were going to stop selling alcohol completely for the night.
Yeah, that's how it was. It was 9 o'clock or 12 o'clock for beer, which is when I went to Utah and a lot of other states, they still have 4.3% beer.
Yeah.
So these like beer companies like Heineken or Budweiser actually have to produce a specific beer for specific states.
Definitely.
Budweiser's normally 5%
Yeah.
alcohol by volume, and then they have to make a 4.3 alcohol by weight.
Yeah.
Just like Randall was telling me when we went down to
Oh, it's
Mexico.
3.7. Sorry, 3.7.
Yeah. So when we went down to Mexico, he was telling me that there's only like Tecate, however you say it, or Dos Equis, right?
Yeah, they own the bar. That's how it used to be here also before Prohibition. That the breweries owned the bar that they were sold in. It was a way for them it was a way for them to push their beers. So if you had a Budweiser bar on one corner, the next corner is, a Miller bar and a whatever
or
bar.
Corona. And then there was drive-thrus.
So if you go to Mexico, it's still like that where the breweries own the bar.
Yeah,
And
then they had
also
a drive-thru.
they own the liquor store. So if you go to a liquor store, you can only get Tecate because it's a Tecate liquor store.
Are all these rules just? It's weird when you leave and go to different places that
Some
you're
of
not
them are,
used to.
well, being here from California, and driving across country, it's kind of a culture shock. You don't realize that it's still very, like there's still so many laws around liquor. Here, it's just whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I literally, when I went to Connecticut when I was 21, and I remember we wanted to get some beer on a Sunday, and we literally drove to Massachusetts, and I'm going, we're leaving the state right now
to get beer.
Like, and
Yep.
I remember, I was 21, I might have been even 20, and so I was used to like doing some, asking somebody to buy the beer for us or buy the alcohol, but I'm like, we're actually leaving the state. Here's another weird thing that I came across in Utah is there were some rules that they lightened up on. They used to have a curtain in bars where food was served.
Really?
So if drinks were being made, the bar would have a curtain so children couldn't see the drinks being made.
Wow.
And you couldn't order food or you could order drinks without ordering food. And like a lot of places, you can't get liquor at anywhere other than a package store.
Which is like
you can get beer,
government
maybe.
owned.
Right. But they used to have clubs. When I first started going to Utah, you had to have a membership to go to a bar. They were called clubs. And if you brought a guest, they had to pay like $10 to be with you to get into a bar.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought there was like membership clubs to actually buy liquor.
Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
Okay.
They backed off, but that was to get into bars. But here's what they did. They took some of that back, but they created a new law that made happy hour illegal. And it's also legal in North Carolina the last time I was there.
Really?
You cannot discount liquor during certain hours or certain times of the day or for certain people. Like, you can't have ladies' night.
Yeah.
You can't have... So you can have, like, beer specials that... It's really weird. Like, the bars have to find a way around it. But, the last time I was in Charlotte, I went to to a sports bar and asked, like, what time's your happy hour? And they're like, that's illegal. How weird is it to hear? Have somebody look at you in the face and go,
like,
I mean, as a California person, happy hour is illegal.
That kind of makes me think of, like...
Right now, that was last...
Yeah.
No, it was this year. It was 2018.
Well,
I was told happy hour is illegal.
Wow.
Well, it's funny. You have the opposite end of the spectrum. In Wyoming, they have drive-through bars where you can drive through a bar and actually buy a bottle at any time. And then you have Louisiana that has drive-through daiquiri points.
Right. As long as they put
tape over the straw, it's sealed.
Yeah, you're good to go. If you puncture that tape when you leave, that's on you.
Cheers.
All right, Ross, we're on our
We're
next
on
drink.
two, so...
Need to catch up,
Well,
Ross.
if you don't count the shots.
Yeah, there's no way that I'm drinking anymore. I have an early morning.
You have early morning.
So, for our next drink, we're drinking a Ward 8.
Ooh.
And the Ward 8 has...
Rye whiskey.
Rye whiskey. Mm-hmm. It has lemon juice, and it has grenadine.
That's good.
I like it.
It's good, isn't it?
Very simple.
So,
Didn't you just say you don't have rye whiskey?
Well, I'm using regular whiskey. I'm using straight whiskey.
Stop it, Ross.
Sorry, I'm kidding.
you killed the illusion, man.
How do you know? How can you see us over here, okay? Like, you're just a creeper.
Yeah, bro. Don't tase me, bro.
That's good, though.
That's good, right?
I normally stick away from grenadine, and that's good.
So I think that's the sweetener in this cocktail.
Yeah.
My plan tonight was to make grenadine, and that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, you have one more drink. You might do it again. See? Go the opposite direction.
If you have a product, service, or event that you'd like to bring attention to, we can help. This podcast reaches thousands of listeners in over 100 countries every week. Imagine hearing your ad in this spot just like you're hearing this one right now. Sponsor an episode and get the exposure you deserve. For more information, go to desertoasisroom.com and click on Services. This podcast is brought to you in part by the Tiki Tea, a family-owned and operated tropical drink bar in Los Angeles, California. Come get their house specialty, the Raised Mistake, for only $6 on Wednesdays until 9 p.m. For more information, check out their website, tiki-ti.com. This podcast is also brought to you by Steadfast Pomade, a strong-holding, medium-bodied styling product for men and women, which leaves your hair looking slick, neat, and shiny with a clean, fresh scent. Order yours today at steadfastpomade.com. So, what did you drink over there? How many drinks are you in right now?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
So I pre-gamed with 2 shots of bourbon.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
And then I poured myself a Sazerac, which I'm still sipping on. When we did the toast, I had the Buffalo Trace White Dog Mash.
Okay.
Which is basically just what comes right off the still before it gets barrel aged.
Wow.
Is it pretty smooth?
I poured about a half shot of that. It actually was surprisingly smooth.
So that's not like cut or anything then. That's just pure.
No, it's straight mash. It comes, it's just, it's literally white lightning.
Nice.
Wow, I don't think that's designed to drink straight.
I've had this bottle for probably 2 years, and I don't know why I bought it or why I would ever open it. And then we started talking tonight. I was like, this is the perfect time to
Tonight's the night.
and take a drink of this.
That is like the best
you
toasting.
said Buffalo Trace?
Yeah, like
and I was
toasting.
like, I have that Buffalo Trace.
So we're doing this one with Knob Creek. So we used, on the first drink, we used Tanqueray. Then we used Buffalo Trace. What did we use Buffalo Trace on? That was our shots.
Those are shots.
Yeah, for the toast. Mm-hmm. And then we're using Knob Creek. So what I wanted to just kind of use a different spirit each time.
Definitely. I wish I would have known. I have so much Bullet rye whiskey at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I would have brought it, yeah. I'll just bring you a bottle.
Okay, here we go.
That way you have it on your bar.
I got a talking to one time from a bartender in Omaha, about not using bullet rye. I'm
Really?
not gonna say
Why?
I'm not going to say
Okay.
why. I shouldn't even have brought it up.
Okay.
Oh, is it a bad thing?
Certain circles say you shouldn't drink bullet rye, but I am drinking
I know. Okay, I think I know
and
why.
they don't pay me.
No, I think I know why. We'll talk about it.
Don't bash them over the podcast.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after. We'll talk about it afterwards.
I'm intrigued.
They used to pay me really well.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to do promotions for them and stuff.
Okay.
So, like Captain Morgan, Smirnoff Bullet. What else?
Yeah, bullet is
Knob
huge
Creek.
right now. But I mean,
Yeah.
actually, for the price, I mean, because here you can go to Total Wine and get a handle of bullet rye for about $31.99.
Yeah, Ross.
Which is just ridiculous.
Go to Costco. It's like $28
Yeah.
for 1.75.
Yeah, she's not kidding.
Yeah.
I just saw it over there.
It's crazy.
No, I mean, yeah, it is pretty crazy.
I
I
think
wish
they're
they
trying
had
to
a better
promote
rum
it.
selection over there at Costco. Because
Yeah.
I do too.
they have actually a pretty good whiskey selection,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
they don't have a very good rum
Well,
selection.
they're also the largest buyers of wine.
I see people posting their Costco pics of rums. It's mostly on the East Coast. I'm like,
Really?
what are
Really?
your what
That's
are your, I'm like, what are your
unfair.
Costco's doing?
Yeah.
I belong, I'm on a few Facebook groups that are posting stuff about rum, and when East Coast people post their Costco pics, they have really good rums that we don't
Can you
have at all.
please
It's
tell
really,
me this
really
group? Is it what, Costco on the East Coast? What is it?
I'm just bad at Costco because they don't carry Miller Lite, so
Yeah, seriously.
they're not getting my dime anymore.
Mr. Master Brewer is drinking
Yeah.
Miller Lite.
Hey, sometimes
Yeah.
you're just wanting something clean.
So I also want to bring up in this particular episode this recent crawl that I did with Ross just a couple days ago. And
Oh, you guys did that together.
we did.
Okay, awesome.
And I think it's a little bit fitting because some of those spots were speakeasies. And yeah, I mean, like, I went out there with a list of speakeasies that we wanted to see. We couldn't fit all of them in. There was that.
Really?
There was that many.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I got
so awesome.
14 left on the list right
Wow.
now. You need
See?
to try. I just put it together today. 14.
That's a lot.
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean,
And where are you? You're in Phoenix?
Phoenix.
They're not all speakeasies, but some of them are. But yeah, I'm in Phoenix.
Yeah, and it's this new experience. It's
Yeah.
it's the whole exclusivity. When I walk into some of these speakeasies, I feel like everybody knows because sometimes it's hard to get a reservation, and
Yeah.
sometimes there's a crowd waiting outside, and then I'll walk out and I'll see people sitting up at the front bar, and I'll think, God, they have no clue what's going on back there.
Yeah.
Either they have no clue, or they couldn't get a reservation, so they're
Yeah.
just drinking up front or whatever.
Or they
rather.
don't care.
Or they don't care.
Forget it. Some people don't care.
Or they don't care. Yeah,
Well,
you're
those
right.
people don't matter to them.
I mean, we're
you know?
passionate about this.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
are a lot of people that could give a shit.
Yeah, that is
And I
true.
forget that sometimes.
And what's kind of cool about it is like we talked about, or you mentioned like these guys they look like hipsters, but they're not. I don't know what you were referencing, but the thing about the whole speakeasy thing is, it seems like a douchebag hipster thing to do,
Yeah.
right? But
But when you're there,
it's really not a hipster thing to do.
No.
They're just not
it's not.
there.
Yeah.
well, the problem is you go out to bars and you're standing there waving your dollar, trying to get the bartender's
Right.
attention. You go to speakeasy, that's limited people. It's you, your buddy, and
It's so nice.
10
When we
other
went-
people.
Yeah, when we went for my birthday to the Blind Rabbit, I mean, there was probably about 15, 20 people in there. But we got that one waitress that was all about us,
Yeah.
like making it
so it's more about the
special for
service
us.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
just
the
creating that
irony, though,
experience.
is that all we've done is talk about speakeasies, which is exactly what you don't do.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's supposed to be hush hush.
You're right.
Well,
Well-
it's like we're literally having a podcast. It's like there's this one, there's that one.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to broadcast it to the
And I'm like,
world. We're just going to broadcast it to the listeners.
Yeah.
Okay, so
People that are in the know.
I don't think we mentioned by name a whole lot of them
Or location.
or location.
We just winked.
I will say the last speakeasy that I sat in with Sarah and Randall, Boris actually thought that it was a real speakeasy because
Yeah.
he says, he goes, here's the thing about speakeasies, right? You don't talk about them. So he said, they have rules about no photos,
and
right?
no phones.
Yeah. If you post anything on social media, you get banned for life.
Yeah.
And prior to going, I actually looked to see what was out there. There is nothing.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing.
Which
Have
is
you
amazing.
been to
And
the one
Boris,
here?
which in today's age,
Yeah.
today's digital climate, and Boris was like, so this is a real speakeasy
Yeah.
because nobody really knows about
Absolutely.
it except those that
Yeah.
are
That
in the
know.
know,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Which is awesome. I mean, even if people know about it, like I said, there's no pictures. You only know what it looks like by going,
Yep.
Yeah.
you know? And like I said, today where everything's on social media and there's a picture of everything.
I took a menu though.
Did you?
You would. Oh my gosh,
Like,
you would.
ooh.
It's
You're
not
so
there.
And
sneaky.
here's the thing, guys. I'm just going to throw that out there right now.
No, I'm not a thief. I'm a collector.
It's a difference, man.
my
It's a very,
gosh.
very thin line.
So
Yeah, Ross was like, so I'm not going to mention the bar, but one of my favorite bars that we saw this weekend, I wanted to take a souvenir, so I took a menu. And Ross goes, "You took a menu?" He goes, "You asshole!" And then he says under his breath, "I have 3 of them."
he would.
But I said I paid for those.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
Will they sell them?
Okay.
You know?
I paid with my patronage.
There you go. With the
I remember
smiles.
saying, hey, when I go to the TET, do I punch Mike in the face?
No, but I did say if you want a menu, I'll get you a menu.
Yeah, you did say that. I remember that. I feel like we're rehaving this exact conversation.
Right.
Actually, I do want a menu, so. make
Oh,
that
no
happen.
problem, dude.
Well, I mean, if we're taking menu orders, you're throwing this way.
Right?
So if you do want to check out, I won't mention it over this thing, but if you want to go, there's actually another speakeasy location that's bigger.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the same one.
Yeah,
here.
that's here. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I was actually, so fun fact, I was supposed to design that for the owner. And we were supposed to do it all 1920s, all this stuff. I picked out a whole bunch of materials for him, but he didn't want to pay me. He's like, "Can I pay you in drinks?"
No.
So it could be,
I'm like, "No."
it's like if you're paying me in drinks, it's gonna be a lifetime.
Yeah, seriously.
That's what
So I was like,
what
you know
bars
what?
want to do to me too.
Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I'll just give you my mood boards. I'll give you everything. I picked out certain materials.
But there is a
I
baby
hope
grand
he
piano.
ran with it because I've heard great things from it. I picked out cool wallpaper and
But see,
stuff
you
like
did
that.
work for him for free.
Yeah,
then.
I
You
know.
did.
That's
I
what you
know.
get.
You shouldn't
And
have done that.
I still need to go check it out though.
So okay, so having said all of that, I do want to say this because, and I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to call out anybody specifically, but this podcast is something that I do for a living.
Mm-hmm.
I do invoice my sponsors. They do pay me for the advertisements, and their advertisements are 30 seconds long. Every advertisement has a different price depending on where it's placed in the episode, and some of them choose to pay a little bit more to be right up in the front.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
But they get 30 seconds. And then there are businesses that want me to podcast with them, and they don't want to pay me. They don't want to pay, they don't want to buy advertising, but they still somehow expect me to drive out and do a 1 hour quote unquote infomercial about their business
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes they'll throw me a couple of drinks. But what's the cost of a drink? $3 maybe, right? That doesn't even cover the cost of gas. And it's insulting to my sponsors, and it's insulting to me.
Because it's your business.
Because it's my business. So here's the thing. They all expect us to pay for our drinks when we walk into their business.
Yeah.
I just ask that they, they return
Compensate,
they return the same courtesy. So
Definitely.
I'm throwing that out there for the people that are out there that are listening. That you know who you are,
The
right?
gauntlet's dropped.
You know who you are.
Well, and
I just feel like I have to say it because it's like, look, I don't come into your establishment asking for free stuff.
And it's not like you say record an episode and just throw it up. It takes you that editing time and
you're right. Oh,
listening back on it.
And I'm glad that you say that because
That's exactly how it is.
because
in
a
my
lot of people
industry,
think that
yeah.
when we sit down and record, they think, oh yeah, it's just fun. And it's just a 1 hour recording, but
Boop,
that's
put
the
it
easiest
online.
part.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
There's-
Just
there's-
drinking these drinks.
There's
work.
there's a bunch of expenses behind it. There's number one, my fuel. There is my gas or my parking. There's whatever food that I eat because I had to drive out there and I would have stayed
And your
home otherwise.
editing time.
There's my time. There's my editing time. There's my marketing time, marketing effort. And there's my hosting.
Yes,
And then
definitely.
in the end, they get a
Seriously.
nice, neat little clickable link that they can put on their
Yeah.
social media that they gave me 2 drinks at $3 a cost for, which I think is extremely, I guess, again, it's insulting. So please, if you are interested in supporting the podcast, support the podcast the way that we support your businesses.
And we'll do a happy dance. Seriously.
Yes.
And it keeps this going because I love being on here and I love talking with Adrian. I always,
I
text
just
him
love dancing.
and say, hey, let's do this together. Come on, you got this, We're all in
And
this
there are a
together.
lot of tiki bars out there that are popular with the locals, but
Yeah.
This podcast really reaches the tiki community. I think, Adrian, you've said that you're in 100 countries, maybe thousands of
Over 100
subscribers.
countries. Over 100
Over
countries,
100
yeah.
Is it 10,000 subscribers? I know there's a
Yeah,
lot. So,
yeah,
I mean,
10,000.
so when you think about people that are coming into your town that are not locals, that are looking for places to go that are tiki, that are,
Yeah.
this is where they're hearing a lot of that information. They're reading books. They're outside of your area. They're looking for places to go.
Yeah, they're
so-
listening to the show for free, and
Well,
they're
like
getting.
I said at Tonga Hut too, you are the voice of Tiki now.
Thank you.
Like, you drive, say, an
You
hour
hear
and a
that?
half.
You hear that voice?
You listen to Adrian's voice.
That
you get
is
the
Tiki.
knowledge.
So I don't want it to turn into a self-serving thing about like my efforts for the podcast. All
Yeah.
I'm saying is that
Let me say it.
all I'm saying is that it's more than you think it is,
And it's a powerful tool.
powerful
Yeah.
tool. So, for those that have supported the podcast, thank you very much. There have been quite a few who have donated. Ross is one of them, and I recognize that. Thank you, Ross.
Absolutely.
Ross buys merch. Ross has just sent me donations because he enjoys the show and wants to support the show.
Ross, you're so cool.
So thank you.
You are a
I wish-
gentleman and a scholar.
Yes, I wish we could afford
Doesn't
to
go
support
unrecognized.
Adrian.
Doesn't go unrecognized. But you do support me.
Yes.
Yeah. So I thank everybody who supported the show because this show really it's always looking for funding. It's like Hugh Hauser's show, right? It's something that you consume for free, and he can't do it without people buying merch and making donations and things like that. And when you go to the station that he was broadcasting that, they were always asking for donations. And at the end of every episode, he was trying to sell his merch, right? He's trying to sell DVDs and CDs of that specific episode you just watched. So anyway, a thank you to everybody who supported the show. So that's all I have. That's my rant. That's my rant on Repeal Day.
Okay, now to more drinking and talking
Now to more
about
drinking.
I'm
libation.
just going to add on to that and back it up. Support the Inside the Desert Oasis podcast. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want this to sound like an infomercial either, but I just, like I said, the reason that I have supported is that it's invaluable.
Yeah.
For people that are new to Tiki, especially, or who've been in Tiki for a while, want to hear what's going on, who don't know about the past or the history. There are Facebook groups that are actually setting up mentorships where people who are knowledgeable about Tiki
absolutely.
can mentor somebody who is new into the scene.
Randall,
Just subscribe to this podcast.
Randall is
free,
actually a
and if you
mentor.
enjoy it- so I'm not throwing any names out there.
I'm not naming any names either, but
he mentors like 2
If
people.
you're that serious that you're going to take on a mentor, please listen to this podcast. Please support the podcast.
Thank you, Ross. Appreciate it.
absolutely.
Seriously.
I love it.
Well,
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Can
Okay.
I also comment too? I am new to the whole Tiki thing, and I've only been in for about 2 years now.
Okay.
And when Randall was telling me about Tiki, our first date was at Tonga Hut in Palm Springs,
Okay.
And he said, you can't just get into Tiki. You have to understand the culture, the history, everything that goes into it. And I was so fascinated.
It's probably one of the most complex cultures.
Yeah.
Really
Or
is.
subcultures that exists today.
For a
Definitely.
subculture that is based off of actual cultures that has, it's just,
Yeah.
it's like,
No,
this whole
absolutely.
intertwined thing. There's rules, there's history, there's everything. Yeah. It gets complex.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So he said, babe, you got to listen to Inside the Desert Oasis Room. He goes, I listen to it every time I drive to work or while I'm at work. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I started listening, and it literally I felt so connected to all the artists, and everyone that you did have on the podcast. I'm like, this is so cool. This is fascinating.
Well, you know what I like about the Tiki scene is that unlike other scenes, or unlike not all other scenes, but a lot of other scenes, our quote-unquote celebrities are all reachable. Right?
Absolutely.
They're all approachable. They're all part of the community. There's nobody out there that, well, maybe there's an exception here and there, but
Maybe.
right. But for the most part, you know, they will sit down with you and have a drink with you, and they'll jump in the car with you and go to that next bar with you, and they'll walk into your room party at a tiki event, and they're not people that have handlers. They're not people that sit behind a closed door before they're set. They're not people that, you know,
have an RV, a trailer to be in.
They're not people that have a media contact or publicist that you have to go through if you want to actually, you know, reach out to them about anything. Right? So that's what's great about the tiki scene. You know, we have people that are.
I think that's what I love.
They're all just like us.
So much about it, and then anytime you go to these events, like, I almost feel like we take it for granted that we're here in Southern California with all these artists, you know?
Yeah, we do.
You do.
Yeah.
Ross is spending a lot of money in gas to get here.
Yeah, like, how often am I there?
Well, you know, like, Ross
I've
said...
been talking to them about coming out here. Still hasn't happened.
Ross said something
one day
the other day about that, where he said it's nice that, you know, people came out here instead of us always having to go out there, and we had a blast, right?
That's awesome.
And then I'm going to name his name, Odd Rodney, because I don't think he's going to be upset about what I'm going to say. He said the same thing. He said, he's like, it's kind of nice that people came out here to Phoenix instead of us driving to California all the time. You
exactly.
know? And I said, you know, I'd love to do that more
Let's
often.
start doing that more, like gravitating to other states, you know.
Why would you do that when we're in the best coast, remember? I already said it.
But I would love to see Undertow. I would love to see, I would just love to see all the tiki bars out there.
Undertow is awesome.
Yeah. I'm like dying to go out there.
It's stellar.
Ross, we're actually going to be out there in January, so we might message you like to visit and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to be in Redlands in January.
Oh, really?
He's like, I actually heard about this speakeasy in Redlands that...
You know you guys are welcome anytime. I've sent you multiple invitations, so you are welcome.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
And I wanted to give Ross another shout out. I gave you a shout out, Ross, when we did the wrap up for the Speakeasy Crawl episode that we recorded.
Thank you.
The Phoenix Speakeasy Crawl. And what I wanted to say was that, you know, Ross was accommodating. He was a great host. Boris did mention that you were the perfect guy for us. He was the perfect person because he was a great ambassador of the city, and he's a craft cocktail and tiki enthusiast. So he knew where to take us. We weren't disappointed with any spot. And the one thing that he did, which we thought was, you know, which you saved us, Ross, was you brought a pizza to us before we started.
Yes. Do you want to know we went to McDonald's before this?
As I said, a gentleman and a scholar.
Dude, before we started, he brought a pizza to the hotel.
That's so awesome.
And we all ate pizza.
Yeah.
And then we got in an Uber and went to our first stop. And that was key. It saved us.
Yeah.
It totally saved us.
It
was key.
That was actually
so big ups to Ross. Thank you so much. And it was a great time.
I'm super jealous now.
Me too.
That sounds awesome.
I thought we were going to be the first to visit you.
Get out here, you know. I mean, there's a ton of fantastic bars here in Phoenix. You know, I'm a Bay Area guy, and that's who I'll always be at heart. But coming out here, I've just gotten really in touch with the local craft cocktail community. I've recently joined the USBG here in Phoenix, the United States Bartenders Guild. There's so much going on.
Awesome.
There's so many events happening, and there's
really cool.
There's just more and more bars opening. There's more and more people that are being creative. There's more and more fantastic drinks and restaurants being opened, and it's just a great time to come out and visit Phoenix. So
very cool.
Those of you that know me, say hello on Facebook or whatever. Come say hi, and we'll hook up and do something fun.
Yeah. I do USBG stuff out here too. You know, Ross, the next time you're out here, we should do a USBG event together. We should do it so that, because they do a monthly meeting, and they're tons of fun, man.
That's really cool.
You should go with me on the next one.
The guy that you just had on your podcast recently, what's his name, Benny?
Benny, yeah.
Yeah, he invited me to a tiki thing not too long ago. He just hit me up on Facebook out of nowhere and said, "Hey, we'd really like to have you at this thing." And I wasn't in town that week, but I would definitely like to come out there and.
Yeah, he's one of the guys who runs the Orange County chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would love to come out and be a part of that.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
That sounds fantastic. But here's the other thing about Tiki and just everything that we're talking about. We get these huge events together, and I mean, there's all these cocktails and drinks happening, and there's how many fights do you see? There's massive rum drinks going down, and
absurd amount of drinks going down.
Dude,
seriously.
Dude, for the amount.
Don't get me wrong, there might be a little bit of drama here and there, but
Yeah.
there's nowhere near the amount of trouble and fights and arguments. And
For the amount of booze that we consume at these events, and the amount of people that are there.
There's just so much love.
Yeah.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Well, not all the time, but.
But I think this community just brings in people that feel a certain way, and we're not necessarily, aggressive people that we just want to have a good time. We want to have fun. We want to learn. We want to listen to good music. We want to enjoy each other's company. We just want to have a good time. When we all get together, it's magical. It's amazing.
Definitely.
It's something.
I feel like it's almost like almost just like that escape, like for everyone, like what I've seen in the last couple of years, where everyone just doesn't talk about their 9 to 5, and they just relax and have a good time.
And that's key.
Yeah.
That is key.
Yeah, the thing about
escapism.
that is escapism. Like, most of us don't know what each other does for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot to do
And when
with
you
this
find
too.
out, it's kind of weird sometimes.
Yes.
Right? It's what?
Who are you?
Or it's like, oh, I work at Walt Disney Animation Studios.
you own a shirt that does not have flowers?
And we trust each other to just jump in their car and then have them drive us off. They could take us out to the middle of the desert, shoot us in the back of the head, and bury us in a sand pit. But we still trust them.
Don't give anyone ideas,
right?
okay?
Hey, I don't know how many times I've just nonchalantly sent somebody $150 to pick me up a mug across the country and send it to me.
Never met them
Exactly.
before.
Never met them before.
Don't know them.
Yeah, and it's just it's that community. And I've never been burned. But it's just the community. It's just like, he's like, hey man, did you want this? $150. I'm like, yeah, here you go.
Here you go, dude.
So we have a friend on Facebook.
Here's my address.
Michael Louie, and he lives up in San Francisco. We were doing so many trades with him and just talking to him about just everything. He had questions for us, I had questions for him, all this stuff. And finally, I would say after 8 months of going back and forth on Facebook, we finally met the guy down here. He came down here. He had a trip for work and he went to Trader Sam's and we met up with him. And he's like, I just wanted to say hi. I know you guys are probably busy, but I just love you guys. I love everything that you guys are doing. Thank you so much for, sending me that mug. I really love it. And it brings us all together in such a unique way. And that's what makes me so happy about life, honestly, because it's that escapism and that community of just being a friend to a complete stranger, you know?
I think what's huge is we all like to drink.
Yeah.
But we like to drink, but it's the history of the cocktails. We're sitting there oh, what's in that? Oh, where did that come from? And we're actually dissecting that drink and enjoying it. We get drunk, but that's just a side effect.
Yeah.
I'm sure
we are not doing this to get drunk. And people don't understand.
We'd all still be drinking.
In the community that can't drink or don't want to drink, that still go to tiki bars to enjoy the environment, the atmosphere, the music, to get that escapism and have a mocktail.
Yeah.
It's not about. This community is not about getting shit faced. For the most,
No. You're right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right.
You run into people that are there for that, but they're really not part of this community that we're talking about, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even like being drunk. It's just
you know what? I don't either.
Yeah,
Me either.
I just enjoy a
Just
really
sipping
good
it.
crafted cocktail.
Absolutely.
But I hate getting drunk.
I hate it. I don't like
Have
it.
you ever seen us drunk?
I don't. Yeah.
We never get drunk.
I don't know.
with
Now
Memphis.
I gotta think about it.
It's
Have you ever seen me drunk?
No.
Liar.
No.
I've been drunk a lot.
Well,
Hey Ross, have you ever seen me drunk?
I think we're all kind
But you can't tell someone's drunk when you're drunk. See?
Hey, you know what we did when we did this speakeasy crawl out in Phoenix? We took the lift back to the hotel, and we all got out of the car. And the one common thing that everyone was saying was like, "Hey, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm not actually that drunk."
This is us every time we drink.
We were good. You know what? This Tiki community, particularly the one here in Arizona, has been a family for me. Because those people who know me well know that I came from the Bay Area. I came because of a relationship that ended at recently, actually a year ago. And I had nobody out here in Arizona.
Wow.
But the local Tiki community, Tiki AZ, and has really been my family out here. And
That's so awesome.
Going out to visit my brother in Sacramento recently and getting to know the Ohana out there in Sac, and just heading out to SoCal and meeting some of you guys, and I've gotten really close with the San Diego group as well, and just back home with Bay Area people. I mean, it's family. It is so awesome. Ohana.
I love that. I love that you went to Arizona not knowing anyone, and you just automatically had a family. Like that in itself.
I went to Redlands and that happened.
I was send a shout out to my boy Corey out there in the Midwest.
Oh yeah, Corey's cool, man.
Yeah,
I like Corey too,
that's
man.
My brother, and we've never actually met face to face.
Oh, dude, so
we've connected many times through Facebook and through other means, and I love that guy.
Awesome.
So let's give Corey. That's Corey Whitworth. Let's give him a shout out. So Corey is one of the regulars out of Tiki Cat, and when I was out at Tiki Cat, Corey, and again, this is one of those things where it's just like, never met this dude before, don't really know him. Like in the middle of the night, he's like, let's hit a bunch of home bars. We did a home tiki bar crawl, and I jumped into his car and just trusted him, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And he's a bro, man. Corey's one of us.
What up, Corey?
Yeah, that's what we were wanting when we went out there. We messaged Tiki Cat a few times. We're like, hey, we're coming out. We want to see it. But it just didn't work out where we actually got to go to the bar because we were leaving, I think, on Tuesday or Wednesday. So we didn't even have a day, to go see it, And it was unfortunate because we wanted to go see it and hang out and, get to know that, Ohana out there. And it didn't happen. Hopefully next time because I would love to check it out. Yeah, it looks cool.
Well, while the love is flowing, I think this is a good way to wrap up our Repeal Day episode. When I was a kid, there was this book that when you got to the end of a chapter, you could choose path A or path B, and depending on which path you chose, there was always an alternate outcome. But from there, you chose a path A or path B, and from there you chose a path A and path B. And I guess what I'm getting at is that, this whole prohibition thing, as shitty as it was for those people back then to not be able to get booze, if it weren't for that, today we wouldn't have Don the Beachcomber. We wouldn't have all these great tiki cocktails. We wouldn't have all these speakeasy bars that we enjoy. Yeah. So as shitty as it was for everybody back then to get their liquor taken away from them and the country to go dry, it's one of those things that what would have happened if.
We really have to thank the people that said they wanted to repeal that amendment, and actually change history because they changed it for us today. Imagine we wouldn't have beer, wine, cocktails, anything without that, It would be stuck.
Terrible experiment, but outcome A-okay.
We still learn a lesson in some ways. But
right. One day we'll learn.
I mean, are you drinking 8 bottles a week or whatever? Or a month?
Maybe if anything has slowed down the drinking.
Yeah, I think it slowed it down, definitely.
So, Ross, do you want to throw out any of your social media if anybody wants to follow you?
I'm Tiki Boss on Facebook. That's about all I got to do. So
you don't have Instagram.
Get an Instagram.
We were telling them that this weekend.
I'm doing it this week. I'm gonna get an Instagram. My name, for those of you who don't know me personally, my name is Ross. If you see me anywhere, come up and say hi. I don't really go by Tiki Boss. Some people call me that. But,
no, you're Tiki Boss.
Your name's Tiki Boss.
Boris kept calling him Mark. Even on the way out to Phoenix,
Really?
he's like, so are we going to Mark's house first? And I'm like,
He explained
dude,
it.
why do you keep calling him Mark? And then he explained it to me. And then I thought what would be funny is if we called him Mark the whole weekend.
That would
Yes.
be
But
hilarious.
then Boris kept calling him Ross. And I even said, and I think Ross heard it one time, I said, dude, we're supposed to be calling him Mark.
Oh my god.
Damn it, Boris.
We had a blast. I can't wait to hear what you guys had to say about it.
It was fun. I mean, the episode is... I say this all the time when I record these things, you know, like I always wonder if anybody's going to listen to it and say, oh, what a piece of shit that was. And it's okay because I don't, you know, not everyone's going to like what I do. That's fine.
We love you.
Thank you. And when I recorded that on the way there, after we turned the quarter off, I was like, well, that was a clusterfuck. And then on the way back, Boris was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, well, you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there. So
I really want to know before we end it. I saw that one speakeasy you went into where it was all red. Like,
yeah, that was Melinda's
downstairs.
alley.
We don't,
Okay.
Adrian, we don't speak of that place.
We don't speak.
Dang
Okay,
it.
so let's say I'm gonna edit this part then. Yeah, we can't tell you what the name is.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Well,
thanks.
you can say it's Melinda's alley, but we don't know where it's at, or how you access it, or how you get to it.
Oh,
And I'm
no.
only going to
Okay.
make that point because the first time I went there, I will say it's in the alley of a hotel. And I went into the
Interesting.
hotel looking for it, and none of the employees would tell me where it was at. This was during Arizona
It's
Con.
an alley.
Yes.
And I had already walked a half hour out of my way, a half hour back to it. I've been walking for an hour in Arizona heat. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was like, where's the bar? They're like, we don't know what you're talking about.
Dang.
It's a speakeasy.
So they really like mess with you.
Yeah, it's speakeasy.
They play it up.
Earn your booze, man.
Oh, and
Earn
here's
your
the
booze.
thing. And so we were walking up the street to go to Miracle, and Ross was pointing down another alley. He goes, "There's another one right there." Yeah, it's like,
that's
and they are these alleys between these
Yeah.
tall industrial,
Yeah.
tall buildings, not industrial, but tall buildings in
Alley
downtown.
bars.
And yeah, they literally are now. Like that one, we walked into a fire escape to get
Yeah.
to it. Right?
Awesome.
That's
Yeah,
so
so-
There's a
cool.
video of
Yeah.
me walking into it. Are you going to post that somewhere?
I did. Well, I posted it on my Facebook. No, I'm sorry, on my Instagram stories, which is
Okay.
they're only there for 24 hours.
I saw that.
Like Harry
Yeah,
Potter,
I
you
saw
walk
that.
into a wall.
Yeah. So I will probably I'll put it up somewhere. I'm working on something right now for my listeners that I actually have to put more time and effort into. But I'm working on a subscription service that will have exclusive content, videos, and all kinds of
That's
stuff.
cool. Yeah,
So yeah,
that'd
for the
be
people
awesome.
that like that want more, you know, they can pay like $3 a month or something cheap, like less
need more.
than $1 a week, right? That's 75 cents a week,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
that will get them like, you know,
Even
videos.
$5 a month, like that gives you a whole list of everything that you
Yeah,
would
like
want to check out. You know?
Videos of the bars that we do, maybe videos of some of the podcasts. We didn't video this one. We should have. Videos of the podcasts that we record, and then commercial-free episodes. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. So
That's really cool.
I like the
So,
commercials. They're so smooth.
Yeah, I do too.
You asked really quick if I had anything to promote. Obviously I don't, but I do want to give a shout out to Tiki AZ, all my Arizona family out here.
okay.
Undertow, Jason and Rich who run that bar. I mean, we have a pretty cool tiki scene out here with people that are passionate and really love tiki and everything related to it. So, like artists like Rodney that you mentioned earlier. So it's weird. You talked about it, and I talked about it really quickly. But I go out there all the time. Not a lot of people come out here. Tiki Oasis Arizona is coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
So
I saw
again,
that.
props out to Otto and Baby Doe for bringing Tiki AZ or Tiki Oasis AZ,
yeah.
making that a thing. Looking forward to it, and looking forward to seeing all of you guys coming out here for once. And when you do, come say
Right.
hello.
That's awesome.
I bet
It's
your
going
car
to be a
loves it.
fantastic time. I'm looking forward to it.
Otto texted me today, so we'll see what happens. We'll talk about it off
Say
air.
that and then you don't say anything.
We'll talk about it off air. But he texted me today, and we had a little exchange. So yeah, we'll talk about it off air. But anyway, cool, man. Thanks for joining the show, Ross. I appreciate it. I appreciate you hosting us out there while we were in Phoenix, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, and we can't
Yeah,
wait to visit
absolutely.
you.
Yeah, come out. I tell you, you
Okay.
got a place to stay anytime.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
For a long
Awesome.
We'll be there for like 4 days.
And before we let him go, let's
Make
get
it
your social medias as
Yeah,
well.
we're Tiki Addicts, like always, you know. Tiki Addicts on Instagram, Tiki Addicts on Facebook, Tiki Addicts. Yeah, website.
Follow me at Desert Luna Photo Booths. I'm plugging that in there.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
throw it in
paying
there,
We're
throw it
good
in
to
there.
go.
Yeah, and I'll
For all
put in mine
for all your
too.
photo booth needs, hit me up at Desert Luna Photo Booths.
And then if you want to see what I do for a living, I pretty much post on that every single day. Sarah Made Designs on Instagram. So that's all wedding
Awesome.
and designing and all that fun stuff. So.
It's adorable.
And since everybody's throwing out their social media, I'm going to throw out mine. So thanks for joining us again, you guys. Tiki
Yeah.
Addicts. Thanks again, Tiki
course.
Boss. Appreciate it.
Happy Repeal Day.
Happy
Happy Repeal Day!
And for all our listeners out there, if you have any questions, comments, or just want to leave a shout out, check out our group page on Facebook, Inside the Desert Oasis Room, or follow our antics on Instagram at Polynesian Pop. Alrighty, folks.
Yay, I love
Raise your
it.
glasses for Repeal Day. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Ross.
Cheers.
Salud.
Cheers. Aloha. Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Hello.
Hello.
Say it, Ross.
Aloha.
No, we're doing the Three Stooges. Hello.
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 Hello. All right. Aloha, people.
Aloha.
Oh man, that was bad.
I love it.